Now, as Christine Stott reports, businesses here downtown are also finding that this disaster has caused some minor headaches.
Bernadette Wempel's office used to be located on the first floor of the Corporate Plaza building. She works for the brokerage firm Legg, Mason, Wood & Walker.
It's tough. It's tough. It's not a home, though. I know how the California earthquake people felt now. It's got to be exactly how they felt.
She says the company has duplicates of its records, but that she has lost some of her personal client startup files. Workers at Quick Cash, adjacent to Corporate Plaza, recovered their files and scores of welfare checks today they had inside the business.
We're hanging in there. Everything's going well.
She says their office at 3rd and Hamilton Streets is handling business. But even with records, it could take weeks for businesses to be operating as usual. First, they'll have to find more permanent office space. The Corporate Plaza building also housed the Allentown Parking Authority. It is temporarily relocated to 6th and Walnut Streets.
This doesn't get people off the hook, and I'm sure that people are hoping that.
She says the Parking Authority records are all backed up on tape, but it will take time to recreate them on computers. So she says the authority will give people with parking tickets some leeway when it comes to paying on time. Meridian Bank on the corner of 7th and Hamilton Streets has people working out of its Bath office and from their homes.
The vendors that we use have all been pretty supportive. We've been able to get computer equipment. Bell has been helpful with the telephones. And, we've managed.
But for some of the other businesses with their records trapped inside the buckled building, it's a waiting game. Waiting to see when the building will come down or be secured. Waiting to find out if they can recover their files. In Allentown, Christine Stott, Channel 69 News.
And as you've heard, things are very much up in the air, not only for the residents in this area, but also for the businesses. And as Christine mentioned, they will just have to play the waiting game for now. Reporting live from Center City, Allentown, Newlin Archinal, Channel 69 News. Janet?
Ted Zeller was anxiously inspecting the file cabinets workers brought out of the Corporate Plaza building today. But he realized it wasn't likely he would see any of his belongings among those rescued from the sagging 7-story building. Ted's office was in this section, the most damaged, the most risky to enter.
I've got my whole life in that office. I mean, all my tax stuff, actually my mother's tax stuff, unbelievable amount of stuff. I don't keep anything at home. I figured my office was a safe place, but I guess my home isn't the one built on the sinkhole.
Workers from Central Salvage Company looked at blueprints of the building and then gingerly went inside. They're trying to retrieve as much as they can for the businesses that are fighting for their livelihoods. These workers watched from a window in Wendy's on Hamilton Street. They say it's the best glimpse they've seen yet of their devastated 6th-floor office.
Unbelievable. I don't know how they're even going to salvage anything out of there. It looks like it's ready to fall in a minute. We had just moved into the firm a year. The firm has been there for about a year, so everybody had a lot of personal effects, a lot of pictures and diplomas. Our law degrees are on the walls. So, files, all our active files that we're trying to reconstruct right now.
And it wasn't just tenants of the Corporate Plaza building who got some of their things today. The residents who were evacuated from this area were allowed to go back home with a police escort. They were only allowed to stay for 10 minutes and grab what they could. They've been told they'll be able to go back home permanently on Tuesday.
Oh, it's been hectic. Every day I've been trying to check in and see when they're going to let us in, and staying at my friend's house. And, it's nothing that I would want to deal with again.
The skies finally cleared over the Corporate Plaza building today. Work crews swarmed the area to get ready for Monday's demolition, which will take away the dangers, but certainly not the problems. Nancy Werteen, Channel 69 News.
The plan was to demolish the building using a crane with a mechanical claw on it. But first, workers wanted to stabilize the sinkhole. On Sunday, the 27th, they began pouring concrete in the hole. The hole swallowed concrete all day. It took 720 cubic yards to quench its thirst. Monday, demolition was scheduled to begin.
Well, it was to be an exciting day for sightseers in downtown Allentown. Demolition to the Corporate Plaza building was to begin today, and while none of the bricks came down, the process is well underway. Nancy Werteen joins us now from the newsroom. Nancy.
Kathy, there was no demolition today. As you can imagine, this is a huge job, and a lot of preparations have to be taken before the demolition can actually begin. First, we were told things were going to get underway at 7 a.m., and then we were told 9 o'clock, and then we were told 2:30. Just after 2:30, a wrecking ball did smash into the parking garage behind the Corporate Plaza building a couple of times, but after that things were quiet. 2 cranes are being brought in for this process, a smaller one and a larger one, and the larger one, we're told, has to be brought in on 8 separate tractor trailers and then assembled once it gets there. So you can imagine a huge job just to get ready for this demolition. We were also out there today taking a look, as we have been since Wednesday, at the exterior of the building. We've been showing you lots of different angles of what the building looks like from the outside. Well, tonight we can show you something else, what the building looks like from the inside.
Looks like a war zone. You walk into an office, which was once a lawyer's office, and in front of you is it looks like a buckled highway, and then there's an 8-foot drop. There's hanging beams, file cabinets askew all over the place, personal effects strewn all over the floor. It looks like a bomb hit the building.
And once you take a look inside the building, you can get an idea of why this would have been so devastating if there were workers inside at the time of the collapse. Building owner Mark Mendelson showed us what was Legg Mason Securities on the first floor. Ceilings have collapsed, floors have slumped dangerously below ground level, windows have smashed. He says there are sections that look even worse than this, sections where the damage is surprising to those who have seen this kind of thing before.
I've never seen a new building like this collapse like this. This is the first time for me, and I've been in the wrecking business 25 years.
Mendelson says his insurance company will cover some of the costs, for instance, the $1 million demolition. But he says his total losses can't be calculated just yet. The city says when the building was put up, all the right precautions were taken to try and detect a sinkhole beneath the surface.
There were core borings done in this site before the building was built. An architect and an engineer reviewed those plans, put their stamp on it, which said this was a structurally sound building where all the proper investigations had been done, and we accepted that when the building was built. We had no data or no reason to question that at the time.
On the streets of Allentown today, the impending demolition was treated like a long-awaited event. People lined up by the dozens and even cheered when the wrecking ball sounded, but there was no demolition of the building today. Workers brought in huge cranes in preparation and even put up the name of the wrecking company where all eyes could see it. And all eyes again will be on the building tomorrow when it is expected that the cranes will begin to take the building down. We're told that the most damaged sections of the building should come down in about a week and a half, and the entire building will be completely taken down in 8 weeks. Mr. Mendelson says that first he envisions a parking lot will be there, and after that, he says right now he is considering future construction at that same location. Reporting live from the newsroom, I'm Nancy Werteen.
Nancy, just a brief question. Did they ever consider imploding that building?
They certainly did. The gentleman who owns the wrecking company says that actually that would take longer. You know, you might think that why don't they just implode it and get it over with? But he said that actually takes longer because of the preparations that need to be made. And he says it could be more dangerous for his workers because he says they would have to go inside the building to do some things to prepare for that. And that could actually be more risky for them. And he felt more risky for the city since it is a crowded downtown. So he says this way is the safest way and, believe it or not, the fastest way. Work crews began the day with a change of